Okay. Hello, everyone.
Has it started?
Welcome. Yes, it is.
Welcome to what are we talking about first of all?
Coming
Coming to America. What are we considering?
Come.
Why you?
Well, it's a real talk. It's real talk.
Oh yeah, well that's yes.
Hello.
Welcome to the first official episode of our channel. We are gonna be talking to you today about coming to America. Well, our channel is named Coming to America, but really, what to consider when you are actually coming to America. And you could either be coming to school, coming for work. Today we're going to be focusing on when you're coming to school. So what do you need to consider when you're coming to school, what you need to do, timelines you need to consider, and all that good stuff. So stay tuned or keep watching.
Yeah. And we're just basically going to be chatting through it.
Yeah. So first question, why do you really want to come to America? I think that's the really big question you need to ask yourself. Why are you looking to come to America? Are you just looking to run away from Nigeria? Are you looking for a better life? Are you looking, to live the American dream? Or do you feel like Nigeria is not made for you, or your country is not made for you? You would flourish better in in the abroad.
In the abroad?
Yeah,
so
you have to
abroad
think of all those things that your reason or your motivating factor would guide you in like how you approach the whole process to come into the US, pretty much.
Yeah, but since you're focusing on coming to school, I mean to assume that, you're here to get good grades type of thing.
You know what you're coming to do.
Yeah. Like, okay, so let's back up.
Yep, let's be serious now.
Let's be serious. If you want to come to America to school and you think you're coming here to read for 1 hour and you'll be good, just because you're from Nigeria and you've been cramming the old textbook, you're deceiving yourself.
You're gonna set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, you're setting yourself up for some big failure. And we need to, let you know, coming to school here is not beans.
Yep.
You will read hard, you will write papers, you will stay up for finals and pro nighters with Red Bull. That's what the life is about. And so you need to have that at the back of your mind when you're coming to school. It's not a bed of roses, unlike what some people think. We don't play here. And I hope everybody that's playing.
It's not like we play in Nigeria too.
I mean, no, we don't play in Nigeria, but I feel like some people have
here it's different. It's like a completely different experience. Even though you probably have gone to like high school in Nigeria or gone to college in Nigeria, coming to America is different. Some people say it's easier, some people say it's difficult, but
do you think it was easier?
I think it depends. I think it's relative. For me, when I first came, it wasn't so much like what I was learning that was difficult. It was more like the adjustment. So like I won't call it culture shock, but just because you're coming from like a different environment, coming here, you have to deal with not just the weather, you have to deal with like homesickness,
accents, and nobody
nobody understands you, and then sometimes you don't even understand your professors. You can't pronounce your name. It's like a whole different experience. You're trying to settle down here, you miss your family, and then on top of all that, you're trying to get used to the system. If you're coming here for grad school, I came here for grad school, it's like you're having to deal with like papers, tons of assignments, and having to do all that while dealing with like things in your personal life. It could be a bit much, so you just need to know how to like deal with all of that and just be prepared mentally for all that. But I don't know, over time it gets easier. I think that's just general. Over time it will get easier once you know how to deal with it. But I think I won't say it's more difficult or easier. I just think it's different. It's like the way you're being taught, the way you are taught to learn, the way you write your exams. Everything is completely different.
So that's the mental preparation first. You need to be mentally prepared. Exams. I think it's different. I came here for bachelor's, she came for master's. So for your bachelor's, you need to take your SATs. For both bachelor's and
IELTS probably. English language requirement.
Well, I took TOEFL. So
IELTS. Either of the two.
Yeah, so you can take either IELTS or TOEFL. So some people ask, how do you prepare for that? The SATs is very much different. Like they want to measure how you think.
Yeah, I think that it's the same with GRE. I think with aptitude tests, pretty much.
Yeah,
GRE,
so it's a standardized
test. It's not a measure of how much you know. Yeah, it's like how well you think, or how you solve problems.
Yeah, solve problems basically.
Yeah, that's how like American educational system is. It's like more emphasized on like
how
problem solving skills, critical thinking skills. It's not like how much you can cram or how much you can memorize and all that. It's like how you can think.
I mean, it helps to be able to cram things because there are some classes that you take and it's basically just dumping the book.
I a professor that was like, you just need to memorize the whole book pretty much.
So it helps. And then the other thing with SAT is get the book. Order it.
It's SAT GRE. It's the
same thing. GRE.
You have to get the book, online materials.
Yeah.
There are a lot of online resources.
I don't know where you can get the books from in Nigeria though.
Yeah.
We can take a look at that, but if you have someone coming from the States, you can have them get you SATs, like the latest SATs or GRE, GMAT books.
Yeah. For me, I got my books directly from here, so...
Okay, so you have someone bring it for you?
I had it ordered from here, but you can go
you can actually order...
They deliver to like bookstores in Nigeria, yeah, you can. Or you can order...
the latest version though?
Yeah, it's just expensive, like super expensive, but yeah, I would think they would have the latest version. Or you can order from here and send it back home. You can also do like online classes, or to make it easier, register for like in-person classes because they have that too. And they will typically provide you with like the resources, the books and everything you need.
So that's actually what I did. I went for classes in Lagos. So there are many schools that do that. Definitely look for accredited schools that people have gone to and you're actually able to get into good school. Yeah, get into good school. So for me, my family members had already gone to that school, so I knew what to expect, kind of. And so that helped. They registered for I registered with them for the exam, or they helped with the registration, even application to schools, they help with all of that. So if you're looking for an easy way out, just go to a school that is already accredited. I'm not going to advertise any school.
Alternatively, you can learn on your own. I learned on my own just because I didn't think there was anything I was going to learn in a school that I couldn't do on my own. So but it's a lot of discipline. You have to discipline yourself to like actually read, and then especially for like the words.
Essay.
The flashcards where you not the essay, the flashcards where you have to like memorize words. It's for SAT and GRE as well. You need to like know words.
Oh yeah, for the English.
For the English, for the English writing, the English part.
Yeah.
But yeah, for that one, it helps to have somebody who can actually practice that with you or rehearse that with you. I also had apps on my phone where I would like flashcard apps on my phone. I had like GRE, something called GRE Bible on my phone, just to help me with that. I also had friends. Yes, now. I was then on my mind. It's not like I used to look at every day, but I guess it was there.
I guess because I mean, for me, when I was taking the exams, I was younger and
I mean, when I wrote SAT, I wrote SAT, so I did my SAT in like a classroom. For GRE, I'm like. And I was like, I wasn't in Lagos at the time, just made more sense to do it on my own. But I had friends who did it on their own, who studied on their own. I also had friends who took it in an actual classroom setting. It just depends on what you think would work better for you, and how you think you learn better, pretty much. So that's another thing to consider.
Oh, and I also subscribed to the college board. Actually, right from when I was in secondary school, I subscribed to the college board question of the day, or like just saw the question every day, or the practice test. So you can sign up on collegeboard.com to take practice tests for SATs. I don't know, does GRE, GMAT have something like that?
I think it's the same body that's...
For college board as well?
I think it's the same body that administers it.
Okay, we'll take it. I'll let you know.
But yeah, with standardized exams though, the big thing about this is practice. You have to practice. It's not like I said, it's not like how much you know, it's how well you can think. So the more you practice, the better you know how to answer those type of questions. Because the questions are not the typical type of questions we answer like in Nigeria now. In schools, that's not how we're taught to answer questions. So the more you practice, especially when you first start practicing, you might not really do as well as you thought you would do. Even the math questions are like
those questions easy, they will humble you.
You just need to practice the essays. You just need to practice. Practice as much as you can, and if possible, if you can have like a group of people. If you have people who are working on
studying on the same exam,
study together. It helps a lot.
For TOEFL though, you're going to have to take your written exam and spoken. You speak or you talk and they grade you on your speech. So if you have not mastered how to talk clearly and all of that, you might want to practice. So even TOEFL has, I remember there was a CD or something like that. I guess back when CD was still something. But you can buy one of those materials. They have books for TOEFL as well, and CD materials, so you can take that, practice on your own. For the spoken part, it's kind of hard to hear the mistakes that you make, so if you want someone else to listen to that, find someone that you can trust and someone that will give you constructive feedback to help out with that.
Yeah.
Anything else for exams?
For exams, I think we covered everything. Just do your research, figure out if you want to study on your own or if you want to study in a classroom setting, and then start making preparation towards actually studying that. Because sometimes it depends. You could study for GRE or SAT in like a month. That's not advisable.
What are you studying for SAT in a month?
We need to cover that.
In summary,
you need to figure out what works for you for studying.
Yeah, figure out why you want to come to the US. Mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah.
And
plan ahead.
When it comes to studying for the exams, you need to figure out if you want to go to school, go to a school, study on your own. Regardless, you need to buy books and register for the exam, and that's an expensive process.
Yeah, it's an investment.
Yeah, you need to figure out what you're doing and be sure.
Yeah, you also need to figure out when you want to come to the US, because that could also determine when you write your exams. If you're trying to, we'll touch on that later on. But if you're planning to come to school, say next year, fall of next year is like August of next year, and we're in July right now. You need to start. If you haven't started planning to write your exams or planning to take classes for your exams, you need to start doing that right now. So you need to know how to plan like the whole process.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's actually a good point, because if you're starting school in the fall, definitely start figuring. If you want to start in January, this is July.
Unless you have the exams done,
you're slightly late.
It'll be hard.
I would say give yourself at least a year to start planning and all, because between taking exams, the visa process and all of that, it takes about a year.
Yeah, and there will be rejections in between, because you won't get into all the schools you want to get into. So.
Or you might never get the score that you need to get into the school
you might need to take the exam again.
Or you might not get the scholarship that you need. Things can happen in between. So give yourself about a year to plan. If you need to take a gap year, a lot of people take a gap year to do that. So, all right.
So
next thing, applying to schools.
So what to consider when you're applying to schools. So we would assume that the first thing you know what you want to come and study. Assuming you don't know what you want to study.
Actually, even before you do the exams, you should kind of have an idea. I feel like should you do your research for schools before you start thinking about exams, or should it come after?
I think so. Well, typically with the US though, the downside of the US coming to study in the US as opposed to like the UK is the exam requirements. I think that's what puts a lot of people off, the fact that you have to write those exams, whereas Canada doesn't really have that requirement, or the UK doesn't have that requirement. So, but not all schools require like. If you're coming to grad school, not all schools will require. Some schools require GRE or GMAT. Not all schools will require the IELTS for TOEFL, because
as an international student.
Yeah, not all schools require it, because we're considered an English-speaking country. So some people waive the requirements for English-speaking countries.
I don't trust that school.
No, serious. I didn't have to write IELTS, but then it depends on the school.
Really?
So, yeah, it's not all schools that do it. Like even when I was looking
for all the schools that apply to require TOEFL.
No, when I was looking for schools, I specifically was looking for schools I didn't want to, like, I'm writing GRE and you're testing my English, whether to write IELTS again, and I speak English in my country. So some schools I actually emailed some schools when like maybe their website didn't say, and I'm like, oh, my country speaks English, and then your transcript too. They also ask that your transcript be translated, and like, my transcript is in English. I don't need your. But not all schools though. So I think you need to research schools first. Look at the requirements for admission, then that determines, okay, I need to write this exam, because schools also have like different scores too. So that's another thing. Schools have different scores for admission. So some schools might accept below for GRE. I'm not sure about SAT. For GRE or GMAT, I don't know about GMAT. But for GRE, in my experience, some schools might accept below 300. Some schools want above 300, depending on the department you're applying to as well. So you need to know what score you need to work towards, and then what the exam requirements are, and then plan for that.
Yeah, the same thing goes for SATs, but I would say definitely aim higher, because in addition to just getting into the school, just have to think about, do you need funding? If you're trying to get a scholarship, you will not get a scholarship with the poor score.
You need a scholarship unless your daddy is
yeah.
Because school in the US is crazy expensive. Even for American citizens, it's expensive. They take out like thousands of dollars in loans, and we don't have access to the loans here. It's not like our country is giving us our government is giving us loans, so it's like it's good. A lot of it is personal funding, or I don't know how you plan to do your funding.
There's so much to cover, like even funding. That's like a
whole
big topic.
Yeah. So your school could also help you get like scholarships and stuff, and you need scholarships.
And to be honest, even if your parents are rich, like I think you'd be saving everybody headache. By trying to get scholarships, because Nigeria's economy is not that stable. There are times like even when I was in school, there were times when, especially when Nigeria had restrictions on sending money to the US, and there are people stuck not knowing how to pay their tuition. Like help yourself, try to get those scholarships.
Even if your parents are paying your tuition, there's so much. There's a lot of other things to consider. Your living expenses, your accommodation, your feeding, your rent, your bills. I mean, like I said, unless your daddy is rich, sometimes you have to help your parents to help your family to help yourself. If you're seeing yourself through school, you need to help yourself. Find ways to like minimize all those costs as much as possible. Yeah.
Also, schools have let's not deviate into funding. That's like an entire episode.
When you're applying to schools, what to consider?
What's to consider when you're applying to schools? First of all, you need to think about obviously the scores.
Your exams.
And also consider what you want to study. For your masters, I feel like if you're coming to the US for a masters, you should have a pretty good idea of what you want to study and what you're interested in at that point.
Don't just come because I want to live in Nigeria.
See, and also masters is 2 years. So you have 2 years.
Yeah, the standard is 2 years. Some schools are 18 months or 3 semesters, but standard is 2 years. So
at max for masters is 2 years. Let's just put it that way.
So you have 3 years or 2.5 years.
Well,
it depends.
Like, as the program course is 2.5 years, or do you see
sometimes things. So if you're doing like a dissertation, a lot of times it could extend to like a 5th semester.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the standard is 2 years. Okay. By right, it shouldn't.
But either way, you have like what 2.5 years to get this right. If you don't know what you're doing, 2.5 years goes by.
It goes by fast, so it will seem like a long time. It goes
by quickly. So figure out what you are interested in. I would like to emphasize what you're interested in, because with a lot of Nigerians, like we carry things on our heads and we're only looking for what they say is selling now. Unfortunately, because it's selling does not mean that it's help your destiny.
It doesn't mean it will always sell.
Exactly, like something happens to the economy. So find something that you're good at, find something that you're interested in.
I think it's finding a balance. So something that you're good at and something that you're interested in, and something that's also like
going to make money.
Yeah, that you can
earn you can get a job in. There's some industries that are doing better than others, unfortunately. So if you're interested in
America,
I don't know,
healthcare, IT. If you're like in IT,
you're pretty
almost good.
You're good. But if you're like, I don't know, what course is there?
I feel like if you're accounting, I think you're good too. Anything that requires certifications that makes you stand out from like the general population, I think you're good. However, when you now start looking at things like
architecture,
I don't want to shade any profession, but yeah, that's a good one.
Let's be like, I'll be practical. Like if you're an architect, I know that you're passionate about it, but it's just not something that is doing very well in the economy now. And unless, as an international student, there are already a lot of barriers there.
True.
Don't add more barriers for your destiny.
If you want to do architecture, if you're absolutely sure that's what you want to do, you don't care about the money,
all of that. Like
then I mean,
that's fine. Do you? Or if you're going back, like if you plan on just coming here to do masters and then
go back home, like
the day you get your certificate, like this, you're packing your bag.
Pretty much, that's your plan. Then you can do anything.
Do anything you want.
But
if you're looking to stay, get a job.
You want to do something that gives you an edge.
Yeah, find something that gives you an edge and you are interested in, because it's not about having an edge. You also need to be good at what you're doing, and it's easier to be good at something that you enjoy.
Yeah, you have an interest in.
So that's the thing for majors. For bachelors, you kind of have a little bit more time, so you can come in undecided. I don't know how you carry yourself from your country undecided, but
it happens. I mean,
things happen.
You finish school early, like. I personally don't.
I'm sorry, but don't they ask you in your visa interview, why you want to study what you want to study.
That's an angle.
Like, I feel like when you're coming, at least have an idea. You might
have
not
an
be
idea
sure.
what you want to do, and it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. I feel like you're young and you evolve. Things always change. What you want to do now might not be what you want to do in 5 years time. Yeah, that's okay. So.
I mean, even for me, I came to study economics and I switched my sophomore year because I found my calling elsewhere. But figure out what works for you. It's easy to get influenced by people, but if you are going to cross the entire Atlantic Ocean, you need to know what you're doing. You need to figure out what's going on. You might not have a clear direction. I feel like most people don't, even later on in their lives, but have an idea of what you're interested in.
And what you're good at.
Exactly.
The classes you do well in. Things that come naturally to you.
Yep.
So
that's fun. Alright. Okay, so we covered knowing, coming here with an idea of what you want to do. But in line with that also, you need to figure out the schools that are good at certain things. I think it's always helpful to kind of have someone here that can give you.
And then if you don't have anybody there, look for somebody. You need to scout. If you are going to look for them on LinkedIn, Facebook, reach out to people. Just keep reaching out to people until somebody will respond to you. Not everybody will respond. Some people will respond, but you never can tell if you don't reach out to anybody. So don't say I don't know anybody in America. I don't know. Just reach out, and you might be lucky. You find somebody who will be willing to explain what you need to do.
Yeah. Because there are certain schools that are better at certain programs, and
that's where research comes in as well. Yeah.
Or they might even have employer relations with
like
certain companies. So in my school, for instance, the accounting program was very, very good, and there were a lot of big, like the big four companies used to come and recruit from my school. Meanwhile, if you go to some other schools, they don't have that relationship. So you might be very, very good, but because the employers that need to employ you don't come to your school, or that's also another thing.
It's more difficult.
Yeah, if you don't know already, there are certain companies that only recruit from certain schools. So take that.
That only hire international students.
Yeah. So or don't even hire international students. So look at. I don't know, when you're researching also, I feel like most people don't consider this, but look at the career center of the school you're applying to.
Yeah, look at, even for your majors, look at the job prospects and look at how that relates to like in the school, like the career opportunities available, the alumni that are available and all that. And that helps you know, okay, once I'm done with school, this gives you an idea of what you could potentially be doing after school and the opportunities available to you. Another thing is, people might be eager to look at rankings and say, oh, this school is like highly ranked. I want to go to a highly ranked school. The highly ranked schools, first of all, you need to know that there's some schools that are generally highly ranked, like the Ivy Leagues, or not the schools who are just beneath the Ivy Leagues. And there are schools that are good for certain programs. So it might not be considered, it might not be a very high top ranked school, but for the program you want to study, it could be one of the best in the country ones. And that's really what matters. You don't need to go to Harvard.
I actually don't. I feel like not everybody's going to go to Harvard, but you need to be in the right place and find the right employers that you need. And okay, I'll just give you advice. If you're applying for your SATs, you only get 4 schools free or something like that.
It's the same thing for GRE.
For GRE, you only get 4 schools free.
After that, you pay.
Honey, if you put Harvard and you put Yale and you put all the Ivy League school.
So do your research before you write your exam. Don't go there and start thinking about what schools. So because they send your scores directly to the schools, so it helps if you've applied to them or if you're planning to apply to them. Just get your school. Otherwise, they're going to pay an additional money. I think it's like $100
per school or something like that.
To get your scores sent to that school. So
I'm sure you're a very, very smart person, and Nigerians in general are smart. Like, I'll give you that, but unfortunately, Ivy League schools are very, very, very selective, and you might just not be able to compete with the American students.
Exactly, that's another thing. You have to stand out. There's nothing to say that you can't get into an Ivy League school, but you have to stand out.
And the schools are expensive.
Exactly, they're expensive too. They have their funding opportunities, but they're also expensive.
And to get that funding,
so if you think you want to go to Harvard and you think you can get into Harvard, then do the work. Actually do the research and take the steps to actually go to Harvard. But also consider the fact that the Ivy League schools, consider how they might help you. So is it really good in what you want to study,
or are you just going for the name?
Yeah, because of the name. The name gets you places, but think about like the investment, not just financial investment, the time, commitments to, or with going to a smaller school that's not as better, higher ranked, but is much more focused on what you want to study. Will that pay you off better? You need to consider all those things and weigh those options as well. So it's not just about the ratings and I mean, it's nice to say, oh, I went to like
Harvard,
Yale, but
really,
think about how you can help yourself and your end goal pretty much. So
yeah. And actually you mentioned something about small schools and big schools. If you're coming straight from Nigeria from secondary school, I might be biased, but I would recommend going to a slightly smaller school.
How would you consider it? What would you term a small school? Like population
wise? So my population wise, my school is like 2,000 people.
That's a really small school.
That's a very, very
super small school.
Smaller class size, you have access to your professors more.
On average, how many were you in class?
I think my biggest class was everybody like in business departments. Actually, like a normal class, maybe 20 to 30 people.
I think that's standard class size.
Even 30 people is too
typically much. When you're applying to schools, they tell you like the standard class size, so like 30 people to 30 people is too much. Yeah, 30 people to like one professor.
No, well, like
for your general ed classes, for your general education classes too.
Yeah, we're about that many.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So like my school is small. The biggest classes are like maybe bio 100 or something like that.
That's really small.
My school is very, very small, but so it helped. It
depends, because I went to like I consider my school like a medium. It's not too high, it's not small, but it's not super high population. The population of my school is about 20,000 ish, so it's not a small school. The thing about my school is the grad student population to undergrads was like very skewed. So grad students were like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 or something, and undergrads were like 18,000. So the downside to that was like a lot of the services on campus were focused more towards undergrads and not as much towards grad students. But then there are schools that have like 40,000, 60,000 people. Now imagine you're coming from Nigeria or from somewhere in Africa. It's your first time out of the country, you're away from home, and you're in this huge school with
you get like, the same, like you actually just get lost.
And these campuses are huge. Like you will feel lost, and it will take a while for you to find your own people. So I personally feel like it might be better to go to a small school, but then again it depends on what you want to study and where you feel like you'll be better served. There's also another thing to consider is like the location of the school you're applying to. So is it located in a city? Is it close to a big city, or is it in the middle of nowhere? So if you can avoid this, don't go to a school in the middle of nowhere. Unless it's like
the thing though is I feel like
to like job opportunities, career opportunities, because with the career center there's something called the career fair where employers come to school to recruit students directly to companies. So you don't necessarily have to go and apply. The employers come to you. Now the chances of them doing that in a school that's closer to a bigger city is very high, because you are close to the city. It's not, the employers don't have to travel so far. The school might not be super Gengen school, but then the fact that it's closer, employers don't have to go so far. However, if your school is like further away, your school has to be really good for employers to be willing to go all the way, invest their time, resources to come and look for talent in your school. So that's another thing to consider. The fact that it's for summer internships, like the location of your school. Would you be struggling to find a summer internship? Like are there companies located where your school is located, or do you have, like, is it far away? If you don't have a car, then it might be hard to start looking to companies.
Well, yeah,
that's one thing to consider as well. I didn't know that. I was looking for a school that was in a campus environment, because I wanted to be in a campus environment. Downside to that is like campus towns are usually dead, like when school is not.
Well, at the same time, like there are so many schools that are in the middle of nowhere, but your school needs to be good enough to attract people.
Like Penn State is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so like, to be honest, most of the good schools are actually in the middle of nowhere, because they need to have
with the campuses.
Yeah, they need to have big space and all of that to have multiple buildings and be able to accommodate the type of students that they want to have. So most of the good schools are in the middle of nowhere. If you need to be able to balance,
like 2 or 3 hours away from
the biggest city. But like you need to be able to balance. Do I want to be right in the middle of the city because of jobs, or do I want to be at a really, really good school?
Yeah,
it's really up to you, to be honest. But these are just things for you to consider.
Yeah. The last thing I guess we'll talk about is timelines. So like how to plan like every step of the journey. So what we had said earlier is that, like, imagine you're trying to come to school next August, and then you need to start thinking about writing your exams right now. So typically admissions open like early fall of. So again, for fall of 2019, admissions for fall of 2019 would have opened like August, September. Depending on the school, admissions will start closing by January, February. Some schools, they leave the admissions open for international students as late as March, April, May for summer. But you don't want to take that chance because you want to apply as early as you want to apply. But like some schools have first deadline, second deadline, third deadline.
You want to make the first deadline.
You want to make the first deadline because a lot of the scholarships and scholarship decisions are usually made with like the first deadline or the second deadline.
Or there might be something wrong with your application.
Exactly.
And
those for some schools, like the good schools or the more selective programs, their deadlines can be as early as November or December. So you need to plan. Yeah.
Okay.
Or January, like mid-January, late January. But you need to plan. So planning ahead means you need to start identifying your schools, looking at the admission deadlines so that you know how to work towards those deadlines. Exam requirements is one. Another thing is your personal statements. You have to make sure you craft a good personal statement that can catch the eye of that plays a role in your admission. For some schools, you have to give like a video interview. That's another thing to consider as well.
Also, that's for like the really, really selective
or
schools.
Like business schools, you have to
business schools and really, really selective schools.
So like
you even have an interview.
Or you talk, you have an interview, video interview introducing yourself, or you have an interview like a Skype interview with like professors you're going to be working with. So like there's you think you have time, but you don't really have time. And as international students coming from Nigeria, if you're coming for like masters, there's something called transcript evaluation. So some schools also require you to do a transcript evaluation to convert your, because our skill, the way
all schools do.
Not all schools do.
I mean, I don't know if all schools do, but like for bachelors, you have to do that too.
Oh really?
Yeah, you convert your secondary school distance to do that. Skill. Yeah.
Oh, for masters, not all schools have that requirement, but a lot of schools do that to convert like your college GPA to American GPA,
standard.
And that takes a while too. So you need to factor all that into your timeline.
We covered timelines, transcripts,
majors,
like
schools, how to research schools and how to factors to consider when you're applying to schools. Yeah, but I think the big piece in all of this is planning. So knowing how to plan, knowing when to start planning, realizing that it's a huge investment of your time, of your effort financially, it's a big investment. So yeah, as long as you are ready, you feel like you're ready to take on the commitment, then please by all means start getting ready to come to America. But I will warn you though that once you start going through the whole process of looking for schools, applying, it gets draining, it gets frustrating, it's exhausting pretty quick. And you actually start questioning, like, do I really want to come here? Is it really worth? Do I really want to come to America? I think I'm actually comfortable in Nigeria. You actually start having second thoughts. So it's time consuming, but it's also a rewarding journey. Coming here, the journey to coming to America, it's rewarding. You might get here and it might be hard in the beginning, but you adjust, and after a while, I don't think you will regret your decision to come here. So
yeah. And I think in general, America is the land of opportunities, but you need to be ready to do the work to seize the opportunities, and the opportunities will just not fall in your lap like that.
Yeah,
you need to work hard, work hard for it. But yeah, that's
position yourself to seize those opportunities.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have.
That's what we got for today.
If there's anything else you'd like us to talk about, or you'd like to get our opinion on or our input on, or anything you'd like to see.
Yeah, or if you felt like we didn't cover something as part of the planning process or school selection, like
something you'd like to know,
or if you are even an international student or you were an international student and you have your own tips and ideas to leave them in the comment section.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll all be happy to
share. We're not the authority, we're just speaking from
it's just our experience, really.
Yeah. So additional input is welcome, additional experience is also welcome. It all contributes to the learning experience for people who need to have this information. So yeah. So
we're all one community here. Aww. But anyways, that's all we got. You guys don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. You never know who's going to need this information. Even if you're not coming to the US or you're already in the US, share it. Somebody might need it. Okay?
Thanks.
Right. And once again, I'm Moyo.
My name is Yewande. That's the American way of pronouncing this.
No.
My name is Yewande.
Yewande. Yewande. Anyways, thanks for watching and see you on the next episode. Bye.
What's up? Are we going to my house?
Final.